Mayo Chiki. Let's start this list with a classic harem romantic comedy. But don't worry, this one has something that's quite different from the others. Mayo Chiki is a romantic comedy with harem elements, centered on the life of Kinjiro Sakamachi, a high school student who developed a phobia of women, gynophobia. Yes, a real fear of women like red pill guys have. But he has this phobia because of the mistreatment he suffered from his mother and sister, both professional wrestlers. As a result, he faints when he comes into physical contact with any girl. Based on this premise, any romantic comedy protagonist must have this phobia, because the vast majority of them faint just by talking to the girl. The plot begins to change when Kinjiro accidentally discovers that Subaru Kono, the popular butler of the rich and influential Kanade Suzutsuki, is actually a girl in disguise. To protect Subaru's secret, and no, it is not the protagonist of Re-Zero, Kanade blackmails Kinjiro, forcing him to keep up the charade and help them keep Subaru's true identity hidden. Throughout the anime, Kinjiro faces hilarious and embarrassing situations, while developing a friendship and possible feelings for Subaru and other female characters around him. The series mixes comedy, romantic moments, and touches of light drama, exploring the dynamics between Kinjiro and the girls, in addition to addressing his personal development in overcoming his phobia. For Museigen no Phantom World. This is an anime that mixes ECCHI and action, so it's perfect for those who don't want to watch something too static or still. Museigen no Phantom World, also known as Myriad Colors Phantom World, is an action, fantasy, and science fiction anime, set in a world where supernatural creatures called phantoms coexist with humans, due to a mutation caused by a scientific experiment. After the accident, human perception was altered, allowing people to see and interact with these fantastic beings. The story follows Haruhiko Ichiju, a high school student who, along with his friends, is part of a club in charge of capturing and sealing troublesome phantoms. Each member of the group has unique abilities. Haruhiko, for example, can summon and seal phantoms by drawing them in a notebook, while Mai Kawakami, one of the main protagonists, uses the power of the 5 elements through martial arts. 3 Strike the Blood. Now, this one is crazy. It's a mix of Twilight with Naruto's Karen, who makes a really weird sound every time she's bitten by Sasuke. Strike the Blood is an action, fantasy, and vampire anime centered on Koju Akatsuki, a high school student who, after a mysterious incident, becomes the 4th primogenitor, the most powerful vampire in history, an entity surrounded by legends and feared for its immense strength. His existence could unbalance the world of humans and supernatural beings. Because of the risk he represents, an organization known as the Lion King Organization sends a shaman mage named Yukaina Himuraji to monitor him. Her mission is simple: observe Koju and, if he becomes an uncontrollable threat, eliminate him. Yukaina is a young woman skilled with a sacred spear, but inexperienced in dealing with personal feelings, which complicates her task of watching over Koju. As the series progresses, Koju gradually discovers the vampire powers he has inherited, such as summoning familiars, powerful creatures linked to his bloodline. However, he can only unlock these abilities by consuming the blood of a woman, which ends up creating romantic and comical situations, especially with Yukaina. 2 Kiss X Sis. Now let's move on to a great classic, an anime that is quite problematic if you consider that it's about teenagers who fall in love with their brother. However, if you're against healthy relationships, this option might be interesting for you to watch. Yes, I'm talking about the 2 red-haired sisters who have names that rhyme. Kiss X Sis is a romantic comedy and ECCHI anime that revolves around Keita Sumino, a teenager who lives with his 2 twin half-sisters, Ako and Riko. Although they are not related by blood, Ako and Riko are in love with Keita and do everything they can to win his heart, often in provocative and unusual ways. Yes, very unusual. Keita tries to maintain a normal school life and focus on his studies to get into the same school as his older sisters, but he is often involved in embarrassing and comical situations caused by Ako and Riko's romantic advances. Throughout the series, other female characters also show interest in him, which complicates his life even more, which is already complicated enough at home. 1 To Love Ru. This is my favorite. This is the eternal top 1 on my list, precisely because I started watching it when I was a teenager for reasons that you already know. but I ended up getting so interested in the story and so attached to the characters that to this day I haven't forgiven the author for the mess up at the end of the story, but I won't give any spoilers. To Love-Ru is a romantic comedy and ECCHI anime that follows the life of Rito Yuki, who is one of the worst protagonists in the history of world audiovisual. He is obviously a shy high school student who is in love with his classmate Haruna Sarenji, but has never been able to confess his feelings, because he is a character who was made to irritate you. That's all, there is no other explanation. However, Rito's life is turned upside down when a mysterious alien girl named Lala Sadalin Deviluk suddenly appears in his home. Lala is the princess of the planet Deviluk and is running away from several unwanted suitors. Through a series of misunderstandings and comical situations, she ends up falling in love with Rito and decides that she wants to marry him, which causes a lot of confusion. Furthermore, as heir to the throne, her marriage to Rito could have repercussions throughout the universe. From then on, Rito's life is filled with absurd and hilarious situations involving Lala, her alien family, and other girls who begin to take an interest in him. Throughout the series, Rito tries to deal with his failed attempts to confess his love for Haruna, while constantly being involved in moments of comedy and fan service with Lala and other female characters, many of whom also come from different species and planets. Now, it's at your own risk. The anime is good, but don't expect a good ending. Did you like the list? If I missed any anime, leave it here in the comments. If you have any suggestions for a topic for me to make a list, leave your suggestion here in the comments too. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you liked the video. See you next time.